Today on Jammer Rewinds, we put some gray plastic on the shelf for the first time in a minute.
Access granted.
What is going on, YouTube? Man.
Awkward.
I hear a lot of talking. I don't know why I hear so much talking. It's like 11 o'clock or close to it. Don't know, I lost track of time. But I do know that we added a whole bunch of NES, 2 Super Nintendos, and 4 Nintendo 64 games to the collection. Yes, it's been a minute since we've talked about these kinds of games. Let's talk about these games and let's get them shelved, shall we? Gray plastic. I feel very much at home going back to gray plastic, be it in this form, be it in this form, or be it in this form. I'm very excited to have it added into the collection because these are the ones that are more near and dear to my heart. I've been pushing through Xbox 360 because I don't want to overpay for these things down the road because the price is going to continue to go up and I'm just not interested in spending $20 or $30 or $40, quite honestly, $100, $200, $300 for an Xbox 360 game that had I just been wise at the time, instead of going hot and heavy for NES or Genesis that you see behind me here, maybe I could have picked them up for less money. So that's why I've been going so hot and heavy into them. Again, because the ones that are out there, you can buy Xbox 360 games for very inexpensive. There are some that are very expensive. There are some that are definitely creeping up their price. But the gray plastic is the stuff that gets me jacked, gets me excited, makes me happy. So today we're gonna go over all the gray plastic, starting with Super Nintendo. And I only got 2 of these games. One came from a local store that I picked up a bunch of Xbox games and blah, blah, blah from. The other one I picked up on Mercari. So let's start with the lesser exciting of the 2, and that is Super Battle Tank, War in the Gulf. Right there, you can see right there, it's a good label on top. Super Nintendo game. Basically, you play as a tank, as far as I know. I guess we'll find out one day, but this is funny. It says War in the Gulf. I'm assuming this was in reference to the Gulf War, in which case I saw somebody just recently talking about wax cards, right? The 90s trading cards. And I have some from the War in the Gulf. And this guy was like, man, in today's day, you would never get these things made. I'm gonna go on record here. I am so tired of seeing so many people talk about, oh, you'd never get this made today. You'd never get this made today. That's really sad, right? I'm not mad that they're saying that. I'm frustrated with the fact that our society has become so babied about things like that. Like, oh, that would never go down today. That would never go down today. Why would it not go down today? What happened in the last 15, 20, 25, 30 years? What happened over the last 2 decades, let's say? And all of a sudden, everybody became a bunch of babies. Anyways, that's my PSA. Moving on to the better of the 2 for the Super Nintendo, we got Super Mario All-Star and Super Mario World. My very first Super Nintendo that I ever got was a pre-owned one I picked up at a thrift store up in Michigan where my wife used to live, where she grew up at. Moved out there. It was a place called Second Chance, right? I'm sure those that are family and friends that are from that area or are watching this that are family and friends that still remember that, boy, I bet I hit a core memory with you there when I said those words. So that was a very small little thrift store. I had actually bought a Super Nintendo from them. I had bought a Dreamcast collection from them. Back when people just, you know, I paid $50 for this Dreamcast thing. Came with Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventures 2. Think about the stuff. For $50, I got like 4 controllers, 4 VMUs, all this stuff. Now, obviously, I got rid of it all. Same thing with the Super Nintendo. I got a Super, couple controllers, about 10 games, and this was one of the games. This game is actually not as easy to come by as you would think. I don't know why this one's not as easy to come by. When you talk about mashup games, first off, Super Mario All-Star, that's Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, 3, and I think also the Lost Levels. Super Mario All-Star was the one that came down on the Super Nintendo. To get it together in one cart, I don't know why it's so difficult to find it. Guy posted it for like 35 or 33. I think he posted it for 35, and then like a few hours later dropped it at 33. So I made an offer of 28, and he accepted it. So for 28 bucks, I added this in the collection. Very excited about that because, again, if you look it up on price charting, I want to say it's somewhere in the upper 30s, maybe a little 40s. I don't know, but I want to say it's in the upper 30s. So I'm pretty tickled about that. Next, let's talk about Nintendo 64. These 4 games here are what we're adding in. Nothing crazy. Don't relax. Number 3 or number 1 in this, we have, what is this, California Speed? Yes, California Speed on the Nintendo 64. I had no idea. Nintendo 64 really has an amazing library of racing games if you're into racing games. One of them that's actually a pretty good game that I think a lot of people talk about that I have, and I don't know anything about that one. That's why I threw it down there and moved on, but is the Volkswagen Beetle game. I've heard a lot of people talk good things about that. I have no idea if it's good or bad or not, but a lot of people talk about how good it is. Moving on from there, the number 2 game that I picked up, where's it at here? Right here. Is Roadsters. I don't know if Roadsters, again, if it's an awesome game, if it's a garbage game, but it's now in the collection. And yet again, another example of why there are so many car games, racing games, what have you on the 64. I think the 64 has 300 and some oddball games in its collection. And of those 300 and some games, probably 300 of them are racing. No, I'm just joking. There's a good chunk that are racing games though. Our next N64 game is Lego Racers. How funny is that? Now, don't pay any attention. I don't know why. Every time I keep looking at it, it looks like it's a bad label. There is a little nick up here in the corner of it, obviously, but it's not like screwed up or something like that, like it looks like. I mean, it's not great label, don't get me wrong. It's not like minty clean and all that, but I remember playing this game. If this is the same game, I'm 99% sure Lego Racers was also released on the computer, and I had like a big box version that I had picked up at Toy Liquidators, if I'm not mistaken. I think is where I got it from. Might have been Best Buy for all I know now that I'm thinking about it. I don't know. But either way. And our last Nintendo 64 game that I'm adding to the collection is Rugrats. This is the Scavenger Hunt. Yes, Scavenger Hunt. Don't have this. I think I have a Rugrats game in the collection already, but I know it wasn't this one, so now we're adding this one to the collection. I was never huge into Rugrats when they first came out because it was towards the end of my time in that world of watching cartoons and stuff like that while I'm trying to move forward with more adult-like things like a job and a car and finding somebody I want to spend the rest of my life with, like my beautiful wife, Kristen. Moving on from there, we got NES games, which is the nearest and dearest in my heart besides the Genesis. So we're going to start in this section here, and there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Starting with number 1, don't even know what I grabbed. Dungeon Magic. I don't have this one. You can see right here, this is a gold sticker. Now the gold sticker means that it contains a battery inside. So you could actually save your progress. No idea if the company that I purchased this from actually did replace the battery or not. Probably not. Probably popped it in, flicked the NES on, came up on the screen, they said, yep, good enough for us. A lot of game companies do that. They don't bother changing the batteries. And I guess, whatever. I guess I could change it if I really care that badly enough. But anyways, it's called Sword of the Elements Dungeon Magic. Don't be confused. This is not Dungeons and Dragons. So it's not a heavy hitter. But it definitely is a fun looking game regardless. So that's in the collection. Moving on from there. Another one that I thought I had. I feel like a lot of NES collectors where like you buy and resell collections, like to get the ones you want out of it, or label upgrades or condition upgrades or whatever, and you flip the rest off and it's like, oh, I've already got that one. Then you sell it and you go, I didn't have that. What was I doing? This, I think it was the same way, and this is Yoshi Cookies. I don't remember Yoshi Cookies much, but I do remember renting it from Mr. Video in the town that I grew up in. And boy, I would love to find some of their old merchandise and store displays or signage or any of that stuff, put it in my game room. But long story short, who knows if that stuff even exists anymore, because it was a single point mom and pop place in the town I grew up in. But anyways, Yoshi cookies, super, super cool, and definitely happy to have that in the collection. From there, we have another one that I thought I had in the collection, Karate Champ. These are cheap games, guys. What was I thinking? I'm like, oh yeah, I got that in the collection. I don't... It's by Data East, first off. So I think Data East always makes great games. Data East actually is the Jurassic Park pinball game that I really want to add to my living room by my skee ball table. I actually had an agreement to go buy one from a guy. Had everything with it, all new bumper, rubber, had a new TFT screen or whatever that IED, I don't know what the screen's called, that has all the readouts on it, LED lights. Had the topper. For what he was going to charge me for it was like wholesale, right? Thought that was a great deal. 13th hour, he pulls the plug, is what it is. So I'm looking for another one. Eventually, I'll come across one and I'll add it. But for right now, Data East makes that and it makes this. Don't know. Never played Karate Champ. Whew. We'll find out if it's any good. Moving on from there, what do we have? We have Mickey's Safari in Letterland. So this was in their display case. If I'm not mistaken, this is actually one of the last 10 games that Nintendo ever made for the NES, or was produced for the NES, I should say. Maybe not necessarily by Nintendo, but I think this is one of the last 10 games ever made. It is by High-Tech. High-Tech made a lot of games way back in the day. I have a couple of High-Tech computer games like The Jetsons by George in Trouble and Chippendale Rescue Rangers on floppy disks that are on display in my game room here. Yeah, it was... but that looks like a fun game. And we'll find out if it is. Moving on from there, we have... Ooh, I want to save that one for last. I got some bangers in here that I want to save for last. We'll just move on to this one then. I don't know what number this is, but we have Low G-Man. No idea. Literally, it just says Low G-Man. What is Low G-Man? I've always been confused by it. It says the Low Gravity Man. I'm still lost. Low Gravity Man? What does that mean? What does this mean? Somebody tell me. What is Low Gravity Man? What is Low G-Man? I'm so confused by this. It's like a pastel yellow sticker. It's like some dude, like, looks like he's got like rollerblades on, but they're like, I just don't get it. It's probably garbage. Moving on from there, and in a very, very clean, good looking label, we have the Rocketeer. This one is by Bandai, good old Bandai. The Rocketeer looks like it's going to be a fun game. They also had it on the Super Nintendo. I really should have got it for the Super Nintendo because it was there, but I was in a bit of a mood. There was a sale going on that these were excluded from that I found out after I got to the counter when I'd asked what's included, and they said as long as it's not in the case or behind the counter, you're good. These were not in the... This one was, but some of the other ones weren't. Anyways, long story short, I was a bit salty, so I started shoving things back in the shelf, going whatever. But this one was in the case, and now it's in my collection, and I'm going to put it in my case. The Rocketeer. Look at that, how that like gold kind of like shines. Anyways, oh, we're just going to keep climbing from there, baby. Next, we got Dance Aerobics. Now, I saved this one for this position specifically because the other two really are much heavier games, but my wife was super excited to get this one because you can see right there, it's got the dance pad, yo. Let's go, we got the dance pad. Look at them aerobics. She was so excited when I showed her this. We'll see. It's probably trash. I picked up Crashing the Boys, the Street Challenge. I don't know. Good, bad, ugly. You guys tell me what you think. All I know is that it was like $40. I think it was. I think they wanted $40 for it. But I had a coupon because I'd spent so much money already at their store for $20 off. So I think, if memory serves, this was $40 20 off that makes this 20 bucks, which doesn't make it like a killer deal because I think they were already over market as it was. I think market's like 35 or 30 or somewhere around there. So I still got it below market, just not as far below market as I'd like. I would have rather paid $5. But either way, Crash and the Boys is now in the collection. And the number one heavy hitter, and if you know, you know. We've got Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Indiana.
Now, somebody may be asking themselves, why is this a heavy hitter?
It belongs in a museum.
And to that, you got a good question to ask. What is it about this game that makes it a heavy? It's not a 5-screw. It's only got 3 screws. I see this game all the time online for very little, $30, $40, $50, somewhere around there when it comes to NES games. That's moderately priced, but why do you keep saying this is a heavy? What is so special about this game? This game typically sells for $200. Why does this one sell for $200 over the other ones, you ask yourself?
I need to get to the point.
It's elementary, it's very simple. The reasons why is right here. Ubisoft. This game was produced by 2 different developers, Ubisoft and I don't remember the other one, Taito or something like that. I don't remember what the other one is off the top of my head, so don't hold that to me. But Ubisoft variant is, yeah, Ubisoft. Ubisoft variant is the heavy hitter one. That's the one that you want to keep an eye out for. That's the one when you're at a game convention or you're at a store and somebody's got one out there. I got this one on eBay. Got it for a song of a deal. Must have been afternoon sale or something like that. But I'm super stoked to have this one in the collection because I paid nowhere near retail. Definitely caught them all sleeping. Got it here, plugged it in, cleaned it up, make sure it was good to go. Plugged it in, turned it on, fired it up. Game stinks. At least I didn't like how it started out. I got hit constantly. Anyways, it's a heavy hitter game because of that stupid little sticker or that little piece right there turns this from an okay price game to a through-the-roof price game. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. A little bit longer because of all the gray plastic, but you tell me, do you think of all the games I picked up, is this really that worth it? Is there other ones in this collection like Crash and the Boys? Or what about going back to the very beginning with Super Mario All-Star? Which one's the best one that's in this lot of games? Tell me down below, and we'll see you guys next time right here on Jeremy Rewinds.